What is your comfort show you rewatch when you're sad or sick? IT Crowd. Planet Earth. The blue planet is very soothing with the ocean views and sounds. Maybe Jacques Cousteau had an early effect on my psyche. Any underwater footage is very soothing for me. Bob Ross. Stargate SG-1. Monty Python's Flying Circus. Buffy the Vampire Slayer or The X-Files. It took too long for me to see The X-Files. Literally just started rewatching it a couple days ago, for the 10th time or so, lol. One of my favorite TV lines ever delivered by James Masters. Psych. I'd been looking for this. Psych is my favorite. I actually managed to finally convince my sister and brother-in-law to start watching it this year. I've heard it both ways. Gwen Lassiter uses that line. You know that's right. Have you heard about Pluto? In between the lines there's a lot of obscurity. Been scrolling until I found this. You know that's right. Psych is like the biggest hug ever. Gilmore Girls, absolutely. It's the warm blanket of TV shows, at least to a certain segment of the population. Surprised I had to scroll this far to find it because it is absolutely my go-to when life sucks too much. Feel exactly the same way. That show has pulled me out of so many bad places. Absolutely Gilmore Girls. I didn't watch Gilmore Girls when it aired, but I binged it as an adult in my 30s a few years ago when I had the flu and was home for a week. It had aged just enough that it was still endearing and had me completely invested, though sometimes a teeny bit cringy, but overall comforting. And in the years since I've come to associate it taking care of myself. So, agree. I love Gilmore Girls. In November my son and I got COVID, and we laid on couches and watched many episodes a day. I ended up in the hospital, but he kept watching. Fortunately for me, he was willing to go back to where I left off and watch again with me. It is definitely my comfort show. Just wanted to add. I remember being like 5 or 6 years old and my mom watching it while ironing clothes back in the 90s. I forgot about it for a while till I saw it on Hallmark or TV Land or something in my teen years. I've been hooked since then. My husband got me the series on DVD years ago, but now I can watch it as much as I want on Hulu. Sad, scared, anxious, etc. It really is my go-to feel better show. They call me the hippopotamus, flows that glow like phosphorus, popping off the top of this esophagus, rocking this metropolis. I'm not a large water-dwelling mammal. Where did you get that preposterous hypothesis? Did Steve tell you that perchance? Steve. I can't think of a funnier episode of television than Drive By. The VHS tape with the episode of Dog, I'll Be the Racist Dragon in the phone commercial, Dave laying down why New Zealanders are universally hated, and Leggy Blonde. It was truly amazing work, and the level of detail and commitment to their work is like a warm blanket when I am out of sorts. When my sister and I were little, we'd sneak into our grandma's room at night and watch Golden Girls with her. When MASH came on, we fell asleep. Now that I'm a parent, I honestly have no idea how my grandma managed to share a bed with a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old and still get up and go to work in the morning. Small kids flail. But Gigi reminds me of my grandma and I love it so much. 30 Rock. It never fails to get a laugh out of me. I maintain that the scene where Jack pretends to be both of Tracy's parents and the next-door neighbor during therapy is one of the funniest things I've ever seen on TV. Archer is actually another show I've rewatched when I was sick. Something about it is the right vibe for me when I'm in that blay mood. One of the scenes I've laughed at the hardest of any show or anything ever was when Pam came back from Jamaica with her hair and Jamaica-colored stuff. The team was using objects to represent themselves when planning the mission, and they used a Jamaican flag-colored hacky sack to represent Pam. I died. You ever watch the episode they made where it's just the pilot but they've replaced Archer with a velociraptor? It's effing hilarious. This is mine as well. I watched the whole series while going through a horrible breakup about a year ago, and honestly it's the only thing that saved me from feeling shitty 24/7 during that first month. No matter how awful you're feeling, Archer will make you laugh, and that is a powerful thing. Any Simpsons episode from seasons 3 to 9. First and foremost, thank you for the awards. Secondly, it seems everyone has a lot of opinions about this spectacular show and what seasons are to be watched. Imho, those seasons, to me, are the ones that I will still watch to this day, and almost 30 years later I will still laugh until my sides hurt. Season 2, as many of you have pointed out, has some great episodes, but those are more feel-good moments with humor thrown in. Seasons 3 to 9 are what I watch if I am depressed and need to laugh. As for the person that said all of those seasons suck, I quote Homer after Moe says he feels Homer is taking unfair advantage of his generous offer of free peanuts. Shut up. This is mine as well. I watched the whole series while going through a horrible breakup about a year ago, and honestly it's the only thing that saved me from feeling shitty 24/7 during that first month. No matter how awful you're feeling, Archer will make you laugh, and that is a powerful thing. I watched The Simpsons nearly every night on TV throughout my childhood. Loved that show, definitely among my favorites of all time, and I still reference it constantly despite not having watched an episode in over a decade. There were the reruns between King of the Hill, Malcolm in the Middle, and other shows that I'd watch every night, and we'd watch the new episodes as a family. I can't wait until my daughter is old enough to watch it because I haven't watched The Simpsons since then, and I want to do a re-watch of the whole show with her. I'll understand a whole lot more of the jokes now as an adult. When I was on maternity leave, they did a run of every Simpsons ever. It was on all the hours we were up with the baby, which felt like 24/7 those first couple of weeks. There was no point in keeping any kind of time anyways. 6 a.m., Simpsons. Noon, Simpsons. Midnight, Simpsons. I loved this show so much, it was just absolutely perfect, but the finale broke me and I haven't been able to go back and re-watch it. Someday. Emo: The Good Place has one of the best finales I've ever seen on a TV show, on par with Breaking Bad. The finale was an absolute masterpiece. And listening to Mike Schur talk about it on The Good Place, the podcast, made it all so much better. Oh, brace yourself. It's hosted by Mark Evan Jackson, Sean in TGP. While all episodes of the podcast give you beautiful insights on an episode of the series, my favorites are the ones with Mike Schur. Those episodes of the podcast are usually about a premiere, a finale, or another major episode of TGP. I highly recommend it. I'll have to get caught up on that. It's a really good podcast. Mike Schur is the interview on the most recent Office Ladies, and I always enjoy listening to him talk about human experience. Thank you. Guess I'm starting another watch today. Oops. Thank you for this. Runs to show husband. Cheety's reaction to Jeremy Bearimy was just golden. And the time knife. The time knife? He may have my favorite line reads and facial expressions in all of television. I love when he sees the time knife for a second time and he's all casual about it. Yeah, this broke me. I'm done. You put the peeps in the chili pot and eat them both up. You put the peeps in the chili pot and add the mand. MS. You put the peeps in the chili pot and makes it taste bad. Jason. When are football tryouts? And does this school have a prom? Cheaty. Oh, no. Malcolm in the Middle. Life is unfair. Dewey is my all-time favorite character ever. I had no expectations and I'm still disappointed. Love that character. The future is now. Old man. Star Trek TNG, or DS9. It's the background hum and carpeted wall panels that does it for me. Hey, I got this for you. I spent many years on a Star Trek roleplay sim in Second Life. I made it all the way up to Fleet Captain. Sometimes, when I'd had a particularly bad day in real life, I'd beam up to the space station, board my ship, and just sit there listening to the hum and beeps. There was a different sound when the warp core was engaged, but of course can't do that while at dock. Unless the sim was empty, then naughty little me would slip out of character and flip on the warp sound just to sit and listen to it for a while until my mind cleared. Or until someone else logged in. Retiring from my position was hard, but missing my ship and all its comforts and sounds is what I miss the most. I played a lot of Elite Dangerous, and one of my comfort habits in that game was to find the most deserted planet or asteroid belt I could and park myself in there, and slowly flip off all the systems one by one and listen how the background hum dies down. And then I'd just sit there, listening to silence, watching ice form on the canopy of my ship. The game is not without flaws, but 10/10 for immersive sound design. If I had discovered that type of sim, I probably would have never left that game. Sounds amazing. Shimmerman and the DS9 showrunners turned the Ferengi into a race to be taken seriously. It is possible to commit no mistakes, and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life. Was that the episode where Data played against the aliens of the week in some stratty game and lost the first time, then in the rematch Data went for the tie to frustrate his opponent and win? My god. Quick. Clean. Professional. See a problem, address it, move on. This shit would have been an entire episode of Grey's Anatomy at least, and it would have involved Data and Worf sleeping together. Data already did that with the last chief of security. Fully functional indeed. Like how actual professionals actually behave instead of almost every other show. Why is it that most modern American shows have professionals freaking out and being unprofessional? It's one reason why I like the show The Last Ship, because they acted like real sailors instead of panicky fools that run around yelling and hyperventilating. TNG is probably my favorite show of all time and I've lost track of how many times I've watched it. Some episodes I've seen way more than others due to watching reruns on TV and being favorites. TNG developed my love for sci-fi as a kid. TNG always makes me feel safe, because they are allowed to make mistakes, they're always learning, and there is often no right answer. Plus they all care about each other. Big fan. Data wins TNG for me despite my love for Patrick Stewart. The way the show made efforts to humanize him was incredible. TNG always. DS9 is great too, but TNG makes me feel at home. What We Do in the Shadows for sure. Kill him, Guillermo. You kind of disobeyed me just now. Crepey paper. Bat. Human form. When Colin meets Evie and they drain the office dry, or when he gets a promotion and grows hair. TNG is probably my favorite show of all time and I've lost track of how many times I've watched it. Some episodes I've seen way more than others due to watching reruns on TV and being favorites. TNG developed my love for sci-fi as a kid. TNG always makes me feel safe, because they are allowed to make mistakes, they're always learning, and there is often no right answer. Plus they all care about each other. Big fan. Data wins TNG for me despite my love for Patrick Stewart. The way the show made efforts to humanize him was incredible. We are just taking a nice shit together. 100%. Jackie Daytona or Atlantic City episode if I need a quick hit. I moved to Pennsylvania, because it sounds like Transylvania, which is cool. I was close. One human alcohol beer, please. Mark Hamill was so good in that. My fave EP. Middle. Pablo Picasso, more like Pablo Picasso. Crepey paper. It's crepe paper. Don't sing If You Want to Live Long, they have no use for your song. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead and out of this world. Oh my goodness, I will have to check this out. I didn't know there was a show, but I love the movie. As much as I love the movie, so much, I almost like the show more. Because of Colin Robinson. You must watch. The Colin Robinson character is just genius. Some very smart, creative people behind the show. I love the movie very much, and I'm also very satisfied with the show. It is quality. F-king guy. We drank the blood of some people, but the people were on drugs, and now I'm a wizard. Regular show, never disappoints and always gives me a nice good laugh. Thank you everyone for the rewards, I really appreciate them. It makes me happy to see regular show still has some loyal fans like you all. Also, doing my best to reply to you and like your comments. It's a jolly good show. Smile. Ham boning will save your life someday. Ham boning. This is our clock song. We're setting all the clocks wrong. Hey hey, hey 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 hey. Don't look at our crotches while we synchronize our watches. A bunch of baby ducks, send them to the moon. Jolly good show. You know who else loves regular show? My mom. Whoa. I have COVID, and earlier this week I had no energy to pay serious attention to anything or watch anything new, so I had episodes of regular show and Bob's Burgers on, and it made me feel so happy. It's just funny without being mean-spirited and just the right amount of surrealism. Arrested Development. Reminds me of my family when I'm away from them. Middle dot. That's not a family. That's a bunch of people who have our nose. And Aunt Lindsay. I have COVID and earlier this week I had no energy to pay serious attention to anything or watch anything new, so I had episodes of regular show and Bob's Burgers on and it made me feel so happy. It's just funny without being mean-spirited and just the right amount of surrealism. Arrested Development. Reminds me of my family when I'm away from them. That's not a family. That's a bunch of people who have our nose. And Aunt Lindsay. She's not my real aunt? That's not her real nose. There's a picture of her at 12 in a swimming cap. She looks like a falcon. The writing for that show is honestly the pinnacle for writers. I don't think there is really any line, in the first 3 seasons, that isn't furthering a punchline or joke/gag. It's like someone put a Tenchu level ninja counter on their writing and it surpassed expectations. Adventure time. Calming and happy. Come along with me. This song always make me feel nostalgic and sad. No idea why. Trailer Park Boys. It's so stupidly funny. And I'm loving the responses. Saving this post when I need a quick pick-me-up. That's the way she goes. Sometimes she goes, sometimes it doesn't. She didn't go. That's the way she goes. One man's garbage is another person's good on garbage. Getting 2 birds stoned at once. I'm sorry Dad, but there was nothing I could do. The flames were effing golfing. It's not Rocket Appliances. It's all water under the fridge now. Let's get some more of those sweet and power chicken things. I don't wanna say Adodaso, but I effing Adodaso. Julian's rum and coke makes me laugh every time. Including one episode where they were in a car accident and it flipped over and he crawled out with it perfectly fine. Bonus. After that, Bubbles pretended to be a farmer to avoid being arrested and was talking to the cows to convince them to be his alibi. Pretend you know me, cows. I scroll way too far for this comment. It's the intro song that gets me, and then the way they bring in motivational music when the boys F up or about to. Shit's calming I quai. It's the 4th biggest post now. Happy most of y'all didn't have to scroll all the way down to find this gem. Love the boys and their shenanigans. But is also the theme song is comforting AF. Frasier. Can't get enough of Niles' silly quibbles all the time. I asked for a whisper of cinnamon and they gave me a full-throated shout. So many funny Niles lines, that one is great. There is no show that is more relaxing and calming than Frasier. I just hope that the reboot has the same effect. Broad City. Heart. Makes me cackle every episode every time. Scrubs. Middle dot knife wrench. Practical and safe. It's benign. Benign, 9.5. Listen, Nancy. Hallie didn't have time to scroll this far for the right answer. So if you could just zip it and upvote, well that'd just be terrific. You see Barbie, nothing really ever changes. The artist formerly known as Prince is still just Prince, my ex-wife is pretty much my wife, Grey's Anatomy still ends every episode with some cheesy monologue that ties up all of the storylines, which is incidentally my least favorite device on television. Newbie will continuously try to violate my no-touching policy, glances around Ahayua. And Republicans will forever try to raise dash. Sneak hug. My name is Earl. Just binged this on Disney+. Great show but annoyed that it never got its proper ending. Gravity Falls. It never fails to make me feel better, especially when I notice something I didn't see before. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Wild card, jizz. Just tell me where I jizz so I can give this woman her drink. If I found myself getting sick I would simply say sickness be gone. I mean, through God all things are possible, so jot that down. I keep a bottle of creme de menthe behind the jukebox. It's no big deal. Dennis is a hole. Why Charlie hate? Because Dennis is a beastard man. Would you like an egg in this trying time? Great British Bake Off. I'm not sure who makes me happier, crew or null. I could easily transition into the mighty Bush after though. 99. Every now and then, for no reason, I'll sign my text sincerely, Raymond Holt. Hot damn.
Consider subscribing this video if you enjoyed and wish to see more. Thanks for watching.